"Your land to tend to as you please, Baron Staples," Istinel declared with a pleased smile and a datapad in hand, showcasing a marked territory. Wyatt stared at the map with apprehension. "Istinel, what am I going to do with so much land? I'm a commoner. I've never owned soil. All I've ever considered to be mine was anything I could buy with credits," he asked in a low tone, eyes never shifting away from the datapad. The marked territory encapsulated a small peninsula, a great area covered in forests, small lakes, 2 rivers, and the start of a mountain chain. Most worryingly of all, however, was that the ruins of the villa where the Great Revolution started and ended was part of the marked territory. What was he supposed to do with it? Istinel shook his head, unaware of the pilot's inner turmoil. "You're a commoner no longer, Wyatt. You're a baron by the grace and will of our liege. Princess Clara has appointed you as her liaison between herself, House Ferentis, and the new order under Tornell's guidance. And I, as my house's direct representative, cannot allow a baron to have no land to call his own whatsoever, now can I? But I'm going to leave. I don't have the time to tend to this land nor the knowledge," Wyatt countered, still unable to fully process that he now owned roughly 400 squared kilometers of land. It was enough to make his legs feel wobbly. "The land is yours as a gift of House Ferentis and as a sign of recognition and support of your newfound status. Tornell was the one who suggested the extent of your territory. Call it a compromise for all involved parties." Istinel pursed his lips slightly. "The majority of your territory consists of arable land, a large forested area that suffered greatly due to the raging wildfires, and several small abandoned settlements. The Drazen were quick to act and overrun dozens of locations before fire consumed them." The last statement piqued his interest and anger at the same time. "Are there any Drazen left there?" he asked, eyes narrowing. "Unlikely. However, I do suppose that there could be a few stragglers trying to find refuge. If it is any consolation, any Drazen trying to flee the wildfires in that direction likely died in pain and agony," Istinel remarked, his voice holding an edge of pleasure at the idea that wasn't there before. "But returning to what truly matters, Baron Staples, you may, if you want, choose to do nothing with your newfound territory. It will be your choice to make. However, I suggest that you establish an enterprise of some sort. It will be valuable experience even if you don't stay here to oversee the process yourself." Wyatt hummed, crossing his arms. Clara had mentioned much the same regarding his new position as Baron after he recovered consciousness. Now he could own land and start businesses of his own. He searched through his memories back on Volantis, and an idea manifested in his mind. Analyzing the map again, he focused on a river, the forest, and the peninsula's edge. Fishing, farming, cattle raising, and forestry. "A woodmill," he said as the lessons he learned at the local woodmill returned to him. Basic lessons on how to treat the land, how to take care of trees, the forest, the local fauna, and how a woodmill worked. He only ever treated wood for cutting it into pieces, planks, or lugged logs around, but he'd seen craftsmen making furniture, tools, utensils, and other things at the workshops many times. But who'd work in all of that? Where would they live? People need to eat and have a roof to sleep under. What about payment? What about their health and medicine? They'll also need clothes and other things they can't make themselves, like machines or metalworks. And the people of Hago are, well, now former rebels and on the brink of ruin themselves. I hate being a blue blood. Must all of them have to worry about such things? Wyatt thought with dismay as the understanding of what nobles had to deal with manifested itself. "Not a particularly lucrative industry," Istinel commented. "However, given the circumstances, it is a reasonable option. I'm pleasantly surprised that you seem to know the fundamental basics that keep society running. Food, security, and economy. Everything else spawns from those 3 elements." He turned to Wyatt, smiling gently. "Commoners have so little to worry about in life. Nobles must ensure the gears of civilization keep turning while they toil, as they should, in return for our proper guidance." Wyatt didn't like how Istinel worded it, but he couldn't disagree when he was coming to know more about a world he'd only vaguely comprehended up until not too long ago. But it's an empty land. "Commoners will come one way or another," Istinel reassured, storing the datapad. He looked at the small town before them.